Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to talk about another drama that has occurred in the Genshin Impacto Spacio, and that is, of course, a bit of drama between Mr. Glaive Kyo and Zajef77. It's not clear from the first frame of this video what the hell I'm even talking about. It's better if I show you the thumbnail. Yep, apparently Zajef lied again. And of course, some other facts about the world that I'd like to give you, along with Zajef lying, is the sky is blue, sometimes it's black, and, well, wind blows things. So, yeah, that's kind of like what's going on. Zajef does this all the time, where he posts dumb shit on fucking Twitter. Doesn't expect to get called out because he likes to think that Twitter clout is important. And, well, just says disparaging shit about either content creators or, you know, every game that isn't Genshin Impact. Glaive's gone ahead and I think tackled some of the issues that Zajef is bringing forward. So why don't we go ahead and see how this cookie crumbles?
It is a strange feeling to see your work being discussed by tens of thousands of people. It is even stranger when the work they're all discussing isn't actually the one you created. This video is less of a response and more of a case study.
He sounds mad. I'm just going to be upfront with this. Glaive sounds mad in this video. He sounds like, just frame one, he sounds angry. This is going to be great.
Look at what happens when a piece of criticism is taken out of its original context.
He's so mad.
Misrepresented by a much larger voice, and
he's so mad.
Then released into a passionate and often divided community.
He's so mad.
The chain of events that followed says very little about me or any single creator. It does, however, says a great deal about the states of online discourse itself. And
he should do more of these.
Like any story, this one begins with a single piece of content, but before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because this one will be one hell of a ride. A little while
This has to be one of the most engaging, like, hey, I'm just gonna be honest here. This is one of, like, the best starting minutes of a video I've seen. The start of this video, I feel like it has, like, a 90% retention rate.
A little while ago, I published a video called How Genshin Impact Sells Disappointment.
We reacted to this one. Good video.
The goal of that video was to look under the hood of the game. The analysis wasn't about the story, the characters, or whether the game is fun or not. It was a look at its core design.
Basically, how Hoyo continually promises you stuff, and then fucks up the design of the implementation of it to make it feel like you never really got anything, and to actually get anything, you gotta spend money. That's basically it.
The systems and the gacha that shape how you play every day. It was a critique of Genshin Impact specifically. I want to be clear about that because it was a self-contained analysis of one game, and one game only. I did not compare to any other game. The video did what I expected. It started a conversation, but then it was noticed by a much larger creator, Zajef77.
Why do you call him Zajef? Zajef. Is that so he could, like, make a disparaging nickname later? Calls him Zajef so that later on he can refer to him as Zaqueef.
And the conversation took a very different turn. He posted his thoughts on Twitter, and as you can see right here, he frames my entire argument as this simple, tribalistic take. Genshin is Satan, and Wuthering Waves is the Promised Land. A classic online feud.
Oh! So it's another creator who summarized a video without watching it and then gave a critical take on it, spread it to their audience so that they could damage the reputation of another creator. Oh, so Zajef does it and so does Jetazad. Oh, they both do it. I guess the saying is true. Birds of a feather should just go fuck themselves. Yeah, Zajef is a piece of shit for doing this. I think that anyone that does this, you know, goes ahead, they don't watch somebody's video, they look at a thumbnail, they don't even try to see what's inside, they then summarize the content that's in it and then use it to spread misinfo. My take is that anyone that does that is literally, like, actually the worst type of content creator. Because they're too lazy. They're literally so fucking lazy. They can't even click into the video and listen to it for even, like, a quarter of a second to figure it out. Like, that time investment of about 30 seconds is too much for them. But they're still willing to be this venomous, spread misinformation, try to damage somebody else's reputation, while doing it in the most lazy fucking way possible. I consider this to be, like, bottom tier. Anyone that does this sort of stuff genuinely is, like, I just think of them as legitimately pathetic. Because, like, How do you not even have the effort to go in and even just view for 10 seconds what you're trying to talk shit about? Legitimately pathetic behavior.
A classic online feud. There's only one problem. My video never mentioned Wuthering Waves.
And that's where the caught moment occurs. And you know one thing for certain is that anyone that gets caught doing this is never going to address it or apologize. This is very similar to that one time, right? Where Genizad went ahead. Y'all remember his apology video, right? Hey, f it. Hey, we'll go full circle on this one. Yeah, because it's both idiots doing dumb shit. They need to be called out and reminded of it on a daily basis. Anyways, yeah, so we had Genizad over here, right? And the Wuthering Waves 2.5 situation is crazy. Brother was bitching and moaning about how 7 out of 10 was the only reason why people got flamed. And then he used Fobmaster as a piece of proof, saying that Fobmaster gave it a 7 out of 10. And because of that, Fobmaster got a 50% dislike ratio on his 2.5 story video. If you actually go over to Fobmaster and you take a look at his Frolova review video that Genizad is referencing, let me show you all something a little bit funny about it. This was the video that Genizad was referring to. He said that this video by Fob having a bad dislike ratio meant that the community was irrational, that they just attack anybody who rates the game low, and use this one as proof, using Fob as proof.
Of their action's death.
And this video is just Fob making fun of people that like the story. This is just Fob going onto Twitter, looking at people that reviewed the 2.5 story and then making fun of them for saying that they liked it. It is not a story review. So Genizad didn't even watch this fucking video, but used it as proof that the woo-wah community is toxic and will attack creators, when all Fob does here is make fun of other creators for liking the story. Brother was too fucking lazy to even look at one frame of the video, but he was still willing, Mr. Genizad, Mr. 7 out of 10, to use this video as proof that the woo-wah community is irrationally attacking people. This is what I mean by these creators are legitimately pathetic. Like, they can't even put in the bare minimum effort to even slightly clarify the toxic argument that they're trying to make, and will instead just either A, use somebody for their own purposes to defend themselves, or B, attack others. And this is the thing, right? Nobody should be approving of that behavior. And these kids should be embarrassed. And they should be apologizing. But you know that clowns like this are not capable of apologies. And yeah, it applies to both situations. I'm not referencing Fob here.
Not even once! The entire foundation of this public response, a response that was seen by over 300,000 people, was based on a subject I never—
This is how you know Glaive recorded this a bit earlier before that screenshot was taken. Otherwise, he would have said over 400,000 people. But yeah, that's just how much the number actually grew. Maybe it was at like 350k when he recorded, and it got like 50k more while he was like editing.
People was based on a subject I never discussed. It was a reaction to a video that doesn't exist. And that leads to the first real question. Why did this happen? And when the original tweet was met with criticism pointing out the factual error, Mr. Zajef77 did—
Oh, remember how I said these kids can't apologize? Remember when I said those kids can't apologize correctly?
not address the discrepancy. Instead, he immediately went on the defensive. He claimed that his post was being misrepresented, that people were failing to understand his real point. He then offered this—
Whoa! It's the Riddler! He's back!
clarification. I am literally saying, if you're a Genshin hater, woo a glazer, keep at it and have fun, bro. This became the first key development. It wasn't a clarification, it was a reframe. A clarification attempts to clear up confusion. A reframe attempts to retroactively change what was said. The original tweet's condescending tone, the language of haters, Satan, and Promised Land, is completely ignored. The new official story is that the message was simply a casual, encouraging, have fun, bro. More importantly, this reframe conveniently sidesteps the foundational error.
That bro was too fucking retarded and lazy to even watch 10 seconds of a video that he was happy to shit talk to his entire follower base. That's what is just so fundamentally damning about these entire things, is that these creators know what they're doing, what the end impact is, right? Their goal is to diminish the reputation of another creator, get them less views, get them less success, try to paint them as, you know, illegitimate, inauthentic, blah, blah, blah. They're willing to go onto these attacks, perform these attacks, but they won't even do the bare minimum to prepare beforehand. And when they get caught, they try to slip out of it. When it's just as easy as saying, I didn't even try to watch the video. I made an incorrect take, my bad. But of course, right, birds of a feather should just go fuck themselves. Because you know you're just never going to get a rational action out of them. You can't expect it.
His entire premise was based on a game my video never even mentioned. This is a classic tactic of, wait for it,
I'm good at
blame shifting.
This is like, it just happens over and over again. Like, it's almost like poetry that this just happened and now it happened again. I don't know what it is with like global content creators, EN content creators, whatever it is. It's just these guys are spineless fucks. They're so fucking spineless. It's unbelievable. It's getting exhausting. This is like CC fatigue, where you just see all these guys make all these aggressive takes, say all of these declarative fucking things. And then like when you get into a situation where they inexcusably fuck up, they just never, ever want to talk about it. And all of these fuck-ups are done because they're just lazy motherfuckers. Just so fucking lazy. Like, you can't even watch 10 seconds of a video. That's how fucking lazy you are. Like, let's just let that sink in. It's so pathetic. Like, you can't even spend 10 seconds watching a video. But you'll make these aggressive takes.
Instead of taking accountability, which, let's be real, who is taking accountability in 2025? Am I?
Nobody's taking accountability in 2025. 2025 is the year of CCs who just pretend things never happened. Like, EO is going to pretend he never backseated the first time I ever played units, then tried to make an educational guide on how not to play the game. Yeah, make sure you don't make these mistakes, because we're going to be VOD reviewing the first time somebody ever uses 2 units, and then point out all the critical flaws in their thinking process and gameplay. EO never apologized for that one. Then you got Genizad never apologizing for crashing out on his chat and telling them to go re-roll IRL. Because he got butthurt over YouTube comments that apparently he did or didn't see, but why would he be so mad if he didn't see them? And now you got Zajef over here going ahead, fucking up by summarizing a video incorrectly. Summarizing a video incorrectly because he didn't even spend 10 seconds to fucking watch it. And instead of saying, I fucked up because I'm a lazy, slobbering piece of shit, he then proceeds to try to reframe it and say, I was actually just commenting and supporting Wuthering Waves the whole time. Oh, you fucking little gremlin.
Right? The blame for the misunderstanding is placed entirely on the audience. The problem was never about what he wrote. The problem was that you were, in his words, brain dead for not understanding it. Hey, bravo! Bravo! This is...
Bravo!
Oh my god, this was his first attempt to control the narrative, and it would not be his last when the
This is such a funny video.
blame the audience approach failed to silence the criticism. The defenses began to shift, leading to a cascade of contradictions. First came the intellectual defense. The new argument was that the original tweet wasn't a simple misrepresentation. Oh,
Wait, what was the joke that Tectone made about Zajef before? Was it Zajef77 victims? Or was it like Zajef77 restraining orders? Like which one was it? Because I know like Tectone like dropped one of those and I thought it was the most hilarious shit I've ever fucking heard.
no, but a subtle analogy that was too clever for people to understand. Oh my god, second coming of EO, who is the glue in the Hoyo shield systems?
Isn't it great that like all the references that I brought back before, we spent a good amount of time, right, talking about EO, and then it's just, this is why I'm saying it feels like it's happening over and over and over again in the space. There's a lot of creators, notice, right, the ones acting in such a retarded way are the creators that have like been here for quite a while, right? EO's had a multi-year sort of CC career. Genizad's been somehow CCing for 7 years. Zajef, right? Similar span of time. And like these guys are now at the point where I think they just didn't get called out for their dog shit behavior in the past. And now there are simply CCs that actually do have a spine in the space and are 100% willing to call you out on your bullshit And now these guys are getting exposed. These guys are getting fucking exposed like crazy. Because I think they haven't realized it yet. But the people that they're interacting with aren't going to put up with bullshit. And they're not prepared for that. They've never honestly been prepared for that. And let's just be real here. It's resulting in a lot of embarrassing situations for them that are entirely preventable.
It is you, Zajef77. Bingo, get him the money, guys. Oh wait, he doesn't have Twitter Blue. So he's doing all these rage bait for nothing, for no money. Oh my god. Imagine this.
Oh, so he's not even getting paid for it either. Yeah, so you can't even use, like, the monetary bonus, right? The monetary bonus of having Twitter Blue, that's not even a reason why bro is, like, trying to farm shit.
In the span of an hour, the tweet had transformed from a message so simple it was quote-unquote literally just have fun to a metaphor so complex it went over your head. This is a form of, wait for it,
I'm good at
gaslighting. Accusing someone of inventing a narrative for simply reading the words you wrote. How are you even doing this? How? And it gets worse because when claiming intellectual superiority didn't work, the next pivot was to claim victimhood. The narrative changed again. And now the original tweet was suddenly something nice, an act of goodwill.
I wish Glave's Jenna video was done in this same tone. It would have been so much more funny.
Fault lies with the critics, who are so toxic they can't even accept a kind gesture. This tactic flips the script entirely. The person who made the initial misrepresentation is now the victim, and the people who pointed it out are the aggressors. The focus shifts from his actions to the supposed character flaws of your community.
So it's become A, guy doesn't even watch video, makes aggressive take about Genshin and Wuwa and how Wuwa players are just fucking dipshits. B, reframes it as, oh, I was just trying to tell Wuwa players to have fun. C, proceed to respond with, anyone critiquing me for what I've already said I actually did, you guys are just being toxic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, hey, I'm just gonna be real here, right? Like, a lot of people would say, damn, Zajef has basically used a level 99 defense technique. Unfortunately, I feel like what a lot of those people don't understand is that, well, that's why Glade's making this fucking video, and it's not looking very good for him.
Let's look at it here verbatim. Like frick, if y'all are gonna somehow find a way to pretend you can't even fricking read, just so you can keep objectively and fairly criticizing on Genshin players, even when they say something nice about you, don't go around wondering why nobody likes your community.
So he misportrays Wuwa players, they get upset, and he's saying because they're upset, they're actually toxic. Oh, wait, that's the same fucking thing this guy did. It's actually the same photo. They're basically the same creator. Do something stupid, get called out, call the community toxic, and because they're critiquing you for the dumb shit you did, you're saying they're proving your point. So you act as toxic as you want, and any response, you can just wash it away by saying, oh, they're actually the toxic ones. They're critiquing me, saying what I did was stupid. That's actually not true. They're toxic people. That's why they're critiquing me. This guy does it, and then this guy do it too. Congratulations. Once again, birds of a feather. Go fuck yourselves. Like, you guys are pathetic. I don't know what else to say.
Lamau? Baffling. Oh my god, what a baffling response. And you know what? When playing the victim didn't stick. Because of course it didn't stick. The final defense was to claim the whole thing was meaningless from the start. Confronted with the fact that
I'm literally remembering Genazad's apology. And the 500 times he said, wasn't that drama so stupid anyways? Wasn't that drama just dumb? I can't believe anyone even like talked about that in the first place. I'm just remembering Genazad saying that like 30 fucking times in his apology. Like, oh my god, bro.
I've also criticized Wuthering Waves. He ignores that point entirely. His new position is that the tweet was just a reflection on how it is fun to hate on things. This is an attempt to trivialize the entire conversation. By creating a false equivalence, it tries to drag a detailed evidence-based critique down to the same level as his own casual fun hating on a popular manhwa. If it's all just meaningless emotion, then no.
Then why is he so mad?
One has to be accountable. Oh my god, big brain. And so we are left with 3 mutually exclusive defenses. Hear me out. The tweet was a complex analogy, and it was a nice comment, and it was a meaningless joke all at the same time. Does that make sense? Hell no. And throughout this entire—
Sorry, I need to read the definition of Schrodinger's asshole. I don't think I'm familiar with this term. A person who decides whether or not they're full of shit by the reactions of those around them. Ooh.
Makes sense? Hell no. And throughout this entire unraveling, through all the deflections and the insult, notice the one thing that is never ever said. He never addresses the foundational error. He never admits that the video wasn't about Wuthering Waves. Every single one of these arguments is a frantic attempt to distract from that simple, undeniable fact.
Much like how Genizad wove a fucking tapestry of words when the realization from everybody in the conversation was, bro called his own viewers worthless trash, and then blamed the entire Wuthering Waves community. He never addressed that one, but said so much other shit instead, bringing in creators like Fob and stuff like that. Much like how Zajef never addresses that he's just entirely incorrect about Glaive's video featuring Woo-Wah because he was too lazy of a fucking piece of shit to even watch a single second of Glaive's vid before talking shit about it. Both of those core essential facts about the situation, were never addressed by the offender. They tiptoe around it, refuse to actually talk about it because they know they're in the wrong, and they just want to ignore it and pretend it never happened. But unfortunately, there's creators in the space that are going to hold these guys accountable. They're going to hold these fucking guys accountable, and I'm just going to be real here. It must really suck for them because they've been doing it, getting away with this shit for like 5+ years each.
What happens when a distraction like this is released into the wild? The audience fractures, and the results provide a perfect snapshot of a modern online community. Why bring up Woo-Wah if it's not mentioned in the video? First, you have the group of people practicing media literacy. These are the people who did the simple act of checking the source.
I like how we're praising it as having media literacy because they just watched a fucking video.
They saw the tweet, watched the video, and immediately identified the disconnect. They prioritized—
Guys, literally all you needed to do was just watch 30 seconds of the video.
the good faith discussion grounded in verifiable facts. And it's a reminder that a significant portion of any audience engages in an intellectually honest way. And then there's comments like Kurobots or he has an agenda. You have the tribalist. For this group, the facts and the proof are irrelevant. This is a textbook case of us versus them. My critique places me in the out group, so my arguments are perceived as an attack. A core part of this attack is to discredit my motives with the common accusation that I'm just a woo-wah shell who just uses Genshin for the controversy clicks because my rent is due, guys.
This is the defense that anybody plays when they don't really have an actual argument against the points that you're making. You'll see this comment spammed in basically every single situation, right? You'll see this comment spammed at every single opportunity. Just a bunch of kids who can't refute your points that you're making about the game, and then they'll just say, oh, he's hating for money. Every single time. And that's the go-to response because they legitimately don't have a counter argument. They know whatever they're talking about is fundamentally fucked up, but they don't want to admit it, and they'll just say that you're being disingenuous. I'm glad that people are beginning to realize that, though.
Is an easy way to test this theory. We can just look at the data. You can look at my channel. Let's not act like I can't get views outside of these games. The fact is, my deep dive videos on Uma Musume Pretty Derby outperform both my Genshin and Wuthering Waves videos combined. My channel's success is built on analysis, not manufactured outrage like your Twitter post. And then there's also always a third group.
You gotta recognize, man, you're already short-circuiting their brains. Like, this is the thing. I began to realize that anyone who's making this type of commentary in the first place is stupid. There's only so much you can do to try to reason with stupid people. At some point, right, you got to, like, ignore them because no matter what you say, they won't understand your points or understand your reasoning because they're stupid. Like, they're actually dumb individuals. These are the same individuals that, I'm just gonna be honest, 500 years ago, they probably would be deceased at the age of like 4 because they saw a venomous snake. They knew it was venomous and they decided to go play with it because they're that stupid. So it's like nature, Darwin did his work to like filter out these individuals in the past, but in the modern era, it's like these guys actually end up surviving. They do bring society down, but it is what it is, right? That's the hallmark of a modern society, is that retarded people end up living for quite a long time. That's my definition of a modern society.
Just look at the data. You can look at my channel. Let's not act like I can't get views outside of these games. The fact is, my deep dive videos on Uma Musume Pretty Derby outperform both my Genshin and Wuthering Waves videos combined. My channel's success is built on analysis, not manufactured outrage like your Twitter post. And then there's also always a third group, the bystander, who claims a false neutrality. This is the mistake of treating two very different things as if they are the same. In a situation where one side is presenting facts and the other is misrepresenting them, choosing neutrality is actually a quiet vote for the misrepresentation. It is an intellectual.
You hear that, fence sitter master? You hear that, fob master? Known as the premier fence sitter? By not having an opinion, bucko, you're actually going ahead and you're supporting the misinfo. Did you know that? Ooh, he's not gonna like that. That means he's actually off the fence.
Disengagement that allows the original falsehood to stand. So make sure you look at both sides fairly. But you know what? The most revealing comments are the ones that try to paint me as inconsistent. In their world, you are either a loyal supporter or a hater. There is no middle ground. This user points out that I praised a recent update before I criticized the game, thinking that it's a gotcha moment. Oh, you got me? You got me, bro. In 4K HD ultrasound. The very act they label as hypocrisy, praising a game's strengths and critiquing its weakness, is the definition of an objective assessment.
So they get mad at you when you don't praise the game while you're critiquing it, and then they get mad at you when you praise the game while also critiquing it. This is what I mean. They're retarded people, so no matter what you do, you're still gonna get objections from them. Because now they're saying, oh, he critiqued and praised the game? That's clearly inconsistent behavior, right? Oh, he's being hypocritical with that. If you only hate the game, oh, he's only hating on the game. He'll never talk about what's good with it. And then when you're only positive about the game, he's just super fucking positive all the time. Clearly, he's just a shill. Clearly, the right approach is to be balanced with your takes. But if they're at the point where they're disliking being balanced with your takes too, they're just too stupid to talk to.
Makes you want to turn to them and ask, so you're saying I give fair criticism? They unintentionally wrote a perfect endorsement for my entire approach. But of course, not every reaction was a deep dive into logical fallacies. The situation also produced its share of absurdity, like the parody account of the Wuthering Waves CEO, Daily Solon, chiming in to declare Wuwa as indeed the Promised Land. Well, let me tell you this, brother. The Promised Land is my bed. Get it? Because my bed, me and you, promise. No?
I'm disliking the video.
But beneath the good faith and the bad faith and the absurdity, there is a constant pattern at play here, one that goes beyond just this single incident. In any massive gaming community, an archetype often emerges: the brand defender. These are the creators whose own brand becomes deeply intertwined with the reputation of a single game. They
Oh boy!
act as guardians of the community, and their content is often centered on maintaining a positive space and a good relationship with the developer. This role isn't inherently a bad thing. The problem arises when that loyalty leads to inconsistent critical standards. It is like having a referee who uses a different rulebook depending on which team has the ball. The same level of scrutiny is not applied
Bro wove in a shot at Twitch there too.
evenly. While some deflect criticism of one game, I've made it a core part of my work to apply the same critical lens to all games, including the ones I enjoy. So while the narrative being pushed is that I am a Wuwa glazer, that label falls apart when you look at the evidence. My videos on that game have pointed out some issues, like the design problem of comfort creep, where new characters aren't necessarily stronger, but are so much easier to play that they make older, more complex characters feel obsolete. In my opinion, I've also broken down the long-term dangers of systemic power creep from new mechanics like the outro buffs, which threaten to invalidate a large portion of the launch roster over time. The standard is the same for every game I cover. This begs the question though, why does this pattern of inconsistent standards emerge so often?
I think one of the biggest reasons for why this sort of misinformation about people's channels spread is entirely because of other creators. There have been numerous times, right, where I've actually had to go ahead, DM certain creators to basically stop spreading lies about my content. Because they go ahead, they tell their audience that all I do is XYZ. All I do is glaze woo-wah. All I do is hate Hoyo. Those things are actually not true. It's factually not true. Somebody even went ahead, looked at my fucking entire video history, and came to the conclusion I'm like 70% woo-wah, 15% Hoyo, and then like 10% other content. They actually categorized every single one of my videos, and it's like 15% Hoyoverse related vids. And the thing is that, I'm just going to be honest here, that's actually defamation. That's actually slander, right? If someone were to go ahead, right, and let's just say I end up getting less views because of the negative rumors, the negative lies, not even rumors, that other CCs are spreading about me, right? Then there are naturally an idea of like some sort of damages over there, right? And the thing is, very many CCs are very comfortable with not even knowing the composition, of somebody's video, videography, their history, and then proceeding to just make broad sweeping, generalized takes about what that person actually does. And I'm going to be real here. When CCs do it, I do generally think there's a level of liability, because the bare minimum you have to do is just look at somebody's fucking channel page. But you guys are being too lazy as CCs to even fucking do that. Literally just go in here, fucking press view your channel, right? Look at this shit, and then be like, oh, there's a couple Hoyoverse videos in here, but the majority's actually woo-wah. Oh, Saint also has a lot of videos critiquing Wuthering Waves and saying that there are some fucking problems with the game. Oh, okay, so he has actually a bit more of like a balance. You can clearly see over here, it took me about 30 seconds to do. But people aren't willing to spend that amount of time because they just want to go ahead and lie because it supports the point that they're making. Maybe they're being critical about me, so they'll just lie about the content that I make. And yeah, I really do find it fascinating that there are so many CCs that feel very comfortable doing this. And this is what I meant by people just haven't been held accountable before. They've been able to say whatever the fuck they felt like saying. And now that there's, I would say, like a new era of CCs who like don't take shit from retards, it's just these guys are getting in a lot of trouble now. I don't find it surprising that so many of these creators that we referenced are now just always having like something going on with them. They've always acted like this. Now you're beginning to see just how badly they've been acting. They haven't changed, right? It's not like they decided one day they're just going to start being pieces of shit. They've always been pieces of shit. It's unfortunate, but it's a pill that I think a lot of the community has to start swallowing.
The answer, as it often does, lies in the pressures that exist behind the content itself. To understand the content, you have to follow the money. There are unspoken economic incentives at play that shape the entire discourse. On one hand, there is a powerful incentive for unwavering positivity. A creator building their brand on a single game benefits from staying in the good graces of both the developer and the community. This can lead to sponsorships, early access, and a stable audience. It is the safe path. On the other hand, there is an equally powerful incentive for outrage. Drama sells. Hot takes and tribal arguments generate massive engagement, which on platforms like YouTube and Twitter translates directly to ad revenue and visibility. Genuine nuanced critique, the kind that takes time to research and requires an audience to think, is often the last profitable and the most risky path, getting squeezed out between the two extremes. So when a creator who attempts this middle path is publicly misrepresented and harassed, other creators take notes. This leads to a phenomenon where people begin to self-censor. They see the dogpiling and the bad faith attacks and quietly decide that the risk isn't worth it.
Same thing that happened to ZZZ. So ZZZ is currently undergoing a bit of like a civil war drama when it comes to creators who are calling out the HP inflation of the game. Basically, I got heavily astroturfed by ZZZ CCs who just felt like lying about the takes that I was making. And they essentially created the most toxic positive space for content creation I've ever seen for a game. Where CCs that were feeling the same exact way as me were just simply did not want to give out their take because they knew I got brigaded in the past. That essentially is what it is. They knew the points that I was making were correct. They knew I had good reasoning for them, but they simply didn't make their takes because of the toxic positive environment that so many others in the space 4ZZZ decided to cultivate. You can see the downstream impacts of it right now. The game is basically unfucking playable. Basically, within like the next 2 months, it will not be playable unless you pay money. Naturally, right? When you've been able to clear all the content before free-to-play, the game actually felt pretty decent free-to-play, and now it's transforming into a shitty version. I mean, HSR and Genshin are already shitty, but it's like they're just turning into HSR and Genshin with like a different aesthetic, but the same fucking dog shit systems. People are now getting upset, but I literally just said this was going to happen months ago if the game kept going down the path it was going. And everyone just decided to say I was just hating on the game. It is what it is, man. You made the bed, now it's time to lay in it.
Sticking to safer topics, the long-term result is a content space with less diversity of opinion, where developers face less accountability. I need you, the viewers, to actually put the puzzle pieces together here. But the external pressures only work because they amplify the conflicts that already exist within the community itself. That brings us to the most fundamental part of this entire situation. It all circles back to a disconnect that on the surface seems completely illogical, and it makes you ask, don't we all want the same thing? Don't we want the game to be better?
People view the perception of the game online as how good the game is. If everyone says the game is good, but the game is actually bad, these Genshin players will say the game is good because everyone is saying it's good. That's really just it. They care more about what people think about the game and what people are saying about the game than the actual fucking game. And so you going ahead and critiquing the game, rightfully so, and pointing out where it's dog shit, makes them really fucking mad because that is what matters to them the most. What people think about it, not the actual game itself. And that alone is just like, it's just a sign that these motherfuckers are literally making the game their entire fucking personality. They view the reputation of the game as like a reflection of themselves. And it's like, no, you're not a fucking stockholder in MiHoYo. It's literally not. But like, these guys, well, this is just a fact about the situation. Anyone that tribalistic doesn't really have anything else in their life to like measure value with. So yes, they put all of their self-worth into a fucking into a gacha video game. It's depressing.
Why are we even fighting? The reason is that we're not actually talking about the same things. My goal is to start a conversation about improving a product for the players who invested in it, for the content creators that cover it. But that conversation gets derailed by 4 powerful underlying currents. First, for many, it is not just a game, it is an identity.
Isn't it? It's crazy how I promise you guys, I did not pre-watch this. It's just everything I'm saying is literally just about to come up next.
When you critique a game, they don't hear constructive feedback. They hear an attack on their hobby, their community, and their personal judgment. Defending the game becomes the same as defending themselves. Second, there is a fear of a ruin escape. People play to get away from real-world problems. A critique about predatory monetization or flawed design feels like bringing the real world into their fantasy. They resist it not because you're wrong, but because your truth is uncomfortable. Third, and the third one, we don't all have the same definition of better. For a critic, better means fairer systems.
That's basically a summary of the response when somebody tells you, if you don't like XYZ feature about this game, just quit it. There are 99 things in the game that you like, and there's one thing that you don't like that you would want changed to be better. Just quit the game. Like, why are you complaining so much? Just quit the game. It's fascinating that that's the dialogue that they go for.
Casual player, it might just mean more story quests. For a high spender, the current system might already feel better because it rewards their investment with exclusivity. We assume we have the same goal, but we are often playing for entirely different reasons. And finally, there is the very famous sunk cost defense. Players with thousands of hours and dollars invested have a subconscious need to justify that investment. It is psychologically easier to attack someone pointing out the game's flaws than to confront the possibility that their time and money were spent on a compromised system. So the fight isn't really about the game's quality, it is a clash of these deeply personal, often unspoken perspectives. And in the end of the day, that is what this is really about. This entire chain of events is a small-scale example of a much larger struggle online. On one side, you have the nuanced, evidence-based critique. It is often complicated and requires your attention. On the other, you have the much more powerful forces of tribalism tribalism. Us versus them. It is simple, emotional, and it gets a lot of engagement. And that brings me to the reason I do this in the first place. People ask why I make these critical videos. It is not because I hate these games. It is the opposite. I make these criticism videos for the betterment of the space action.
That's really what it is at the end of the day. But then people will always tell you how bad comparisons are, why you should stop doing comparisons. When comparison, once again, is the root of competition, and competition is how games and products become better. I'm just constantly in the same mindset, and this is 100% the right mindset. If you're somebody that's actively trying to stop people from like comparing Genshin, HSR, ZZZ to either each other or even to Wuthering Waves, you are literally just promoting your games becoming worse. And if you're doing that, I'm just gonna be honest, you are one stupid motherfucker. You're so dumb, it's unbelievable. But there's a lot of really, really dumb people playing these games.
I want people to realize what they deserve as players. I want to push for better monetization, for better quality of life systems. I want better explorations. I want an actual loadout system. Criticism for me is an investment in the belief that something you enjoy can and should be better.
This is why I'm beginning to think that the whole idea of like comparing waves, don't compare the games, it kind of has to have been originated from Hoyoverse somewhere. Like, genuinely, like, I have to assume they've got some people tucked away in some communities, right? Where, like, their main focus is to actually AstroTurf like that. Because there's actually no other way for Genshin to become better other than to have a competitor that's willing to go ahead and steal some of its market share. Because they didn't fucking do anything for, like, 5 years. And then the second Wu-Wai releases, they suddenly start pushing out the most quality of life the game has ever seen. In like a 5-month span of time. It was more than 5 years of service. And then it's just like afterwards, you suddenly start hearing, stop comparing the games. I know we got the most quality of life we've ever gotten, but stop comparing, even though comparing is why we got the quality. It fundamentally doesn't make sense that there would be actual like Genshin players asking you to stop doing the comparing. So I have to assume the message comes from like inside the company itself and it's being AstroTurfed. Because the game is only, well, it was supposed to have only gotten better after Wu-Wai released. They literally saw how much quality of life they were getting.
When that feedback, that investment, is deliberately misrepresented by an influential voice, it sends a clear message to developers. You don't need to listen. Why would they? When their most passionate fans will silence any meaningful dissent for them, the community in the end is worse off for it. So I will leave you with a question to think about. What is the responsibility of larger creators when they choose to frame the work of smaller ones for their audience?
The responsibility? Well, this is the thing. I think that if somebody pulls a Zajef, I think if somebody does a Genazad on you, I think if somebody goes ahead, does this whole summarize your content, doesn't look at it, and tries to damage your reputation, that sort of stuff, fuck them up, bro. Hey, go make a video on them, go farm the shit out of them, and then go send it to me so I can react to it, then go make fun of them for being a dipshit. Yeah, no, I am all 100% for this, like, this old guard of CCs who act in like this pathetic fucking way, have just never been called out for their behavior in the past. I am all for these idiots getting their comeuppance because they have been operating with such a degree of like fucking negligence. They haven't been able to build up good habits because they're just people with like fucking low, I'm just gonna be honest. Like the fact that they're this old and haven't been able to build up the most basic habits that somebody should have is just a reflection of the type of just like weak-willed individuals they are. And you see like these guys, their time is up. Let's just be honest here. Their time is up, and it's just shocking that they've been able to operate so long, operating this recklessly. That will be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. I think Glaive was obviously right, a little bit pissed off, and I think given the context, he's rightfully fucking pissed off. And I'm glad that he's like, you know, so comfortable calling out these CCs that have awful behavior. I obviously referenced a few of them as well in this video. And of course, right, we'll make it a bit of a call out to them as well. You missed the best part. Is there extra?
But that is all from me, Glaive Keo, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.
Okay, you're just gay. That'll be that for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Great video from Glaive. Once again, I'm still disliking it for that one dog shit joke that he made, but feel free to like it yourself. Let me know what you all thought. Peace.